You know, they like, my parents made me go to work. This is an extension of what I grew up doing. Gary will know I went from the piano to the pulpit to school. My life is just continued into my adulthood, and it's a blessing. But the knowledge had to meet at some point. So we all get opportunities, but some of us go the extra mile. And for our community, it's ever so needed right now that we need to go to this extra time we have off. We need to be educating ourselves, learning, looking into the future. Because I remember the story of the talents. And now hermeneutically, some critics might come, but this is how I've used the story. He said the master gave one servant 5 talents, gave another servant 2 talents, and he gave another servant 1 talent. The one that had 5 brought back 5. I see that as 100% return on investment.
Absolutely.
The 2 brought back 2. I see that as 100% return on investment. The 1 got scared, dug, and I put it underground or whatever. And it was only one talent. But then he came to the master, good and faithful servant to the other 2. But the one who only had 1 and didn't do anything with it, the master was so mad at him, kicked him out. He said, well, there would be gnawing of teeth. I mean, he was so angry. It was only 1 talent, but he was so angry. Was that?
He called him evil.
He called him evil. It was evil to squander your resources and your opportunity. So the way I've always conveyed that to my own students and customers is, okay, I didn't come here with everything. I didn't come here with the resources of some of the other kids in my classes, but I came here with what I have, and I know what I know, and I know the talents and the gifts and the things I'm good at that some people are not good at, and vice versa. But I have to meet that with something. So when everybody says, well, God's going to do this for me, God's going to do that, I'm saying, I sit there, I say, I'm more practical with them. I say, okay, let's pray. But when we come up, what are you doing?
Absolutely.
What are you doing with that talent? Because you're doing the same thing that the one with the 1 talent did. What are you bringing back to the
world? Crazy, Jermaine. It's not that the person with the 1 talent wasted the talent. Say he played it safe.
Played it safe.
I didn't lose it, but I played it safe, so I'm able to present it to you. And he thought playing it safe means, well, at least I still got it to give back. No. Again, if you're not willing to take a risk, without a risk, there's no reward. And so many people are playing it safe by just clocking in when they know there's something on the inside of them driving them to something bigger.
Wow, that's deep. Yeah, you're right. Playing it safe, and I was still considered evil.
Evil.
Wow.
Because you didn't maximize your potential.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's back to that be all that you could be. Everybody has that natural urge, but a lot of us die. Unfortunately, I'm going to a funeral tomorrow, and that was tragic, cut short, tragedy. But a lot of us go to our graves with that potential laden inside of us. And I've got a lot of potential yet to still maximize. We all do. No one ever arrives. No one ever just gets to this plateau. That's what life is. So that's what it is. So this is just one part of it, but your philosophy drives you. So the fact that you're even listening to information like this, says that you're trying to drive towards your potential. You're trying to maximize your potential, and that's how I look at it. And so. That's the freedom formula. And
because you and this is incredible. You said the first thing before you go to getting your business cards and all that kind of stuff, you've got to identify really what your skill is, what your product is.
Yep.
Right.
And your market. Yeah.
Your market. So
those are 2 in the same.
Okay. So it could be, and for those that are struggling, trying to figure out what it is, it's something you already have. It could be teaching people how to live stream, particularly in this climate. Teaching people how to live stream, teaching people how to do social media. Something about preaching and teaching. I do a whole class on preaching.
Yep.
Whatever your skill is, could be baking or whatever. Once you identify what your skill is, or I should add, learn a skill, because this is a perfect time to learn one too.
Yes, sir.
At what point do I start looking at marketing, buying leads? Should I do that immediately, or should I run a year or so just trying to do it organically to kind of work out my kinks? What's your advice?
I actually did this blog post. It said Automation Clinic because that was a company I started in 2012 when I figured out I had this knack for automating businesses, and the outside business world started to key in on this little piano guy in his corner of the world who's got the whole thing automated. So they start pulling me into these major stages in corporate America. And so I launched Automation Clinic, and I did it not organically, but I did it in a sort of step-by-step. I didn't have a product. So I started first just writing the content. Like, the content is king. So I started Automation Clinic, the blog, and I made a guide. Let me show you what the guide was. Let me see if I could launch a new window. So I did, I don't know if it's still here. Okay, so Automation Clinic, right? I'm gonna prove to you how this works. The pretty landing page, right? But the real page that I would drive an ad to looks like that. See, it's not, and with one thing to do, register. It's no links. And so it's the same. This is a totally different business, but it's the same process. But it didn't start with something like this. It didn't start with that. It started with a simple PDF. So what I do, oh, there it is. It's still here. I always lead with value. When I start a new business, I say, okay, what can I give? And so I created this little thing, how to harness the power of automation and outsourcing to make more while working less. I don't know if it has a date on it, but it would reveal when I did it. It was in 2012. And I just wrote this one night. It only took me one night because writing's my thing. If writing's not your thing, it's fine. Take out your microphone and speak it. So what I like to do is, while I'm figuring it out, create something of value and start driving those leads. Because here's what's going to happen. So people put in their email address to get this guide. I don't even have a product. I have nothing. But I'm blogging and things like that and building value for it. I'm taking on some clients, some consulting a little here and there, but I don't have the product yet. But I'm building the list, the emails. I'm having people fill out a page like this, right? And so guess what happens when the product's ready? When the product's ready, I got, at this time, 1,500 people on my list. That's it. Not the hundreds of thousands that Here and Play has. But this is also a $1,000 program as well, because we didn't cross over into the B2B world, the business to business. This is corporate America now. Forget what you heard about the $50 DVDs. This is Automation Clinic. This is going to be $1,000 minimum. And so I only had like 1,500 people on my list. I remember launching that product, and it was like $1,000, and it had an upgrade to do coaching for $5,000. And I remember in 2002, with this small little side business, while Here and Play kept doing it, I remember I had a 6-figure launch. It wasn't 7 figures, but it was a mid 6-figure launch with 1,500 people on my list that I had built through Facebook ads, the same process I'm talking about for Here and Play. I lead with value, some kind of PDF, even you could do it with video, same thing. Have them basically asking me for the course. They're like, when is the course coming? Hey, y'all, it's coming. I'm just trying to, make it right. And then by the time it was ready, I had a captive audience. So if I were to go to the beginning again for something else I'm interested in, or, help someone do something, it would be that same process. Okay, figure out what you're going to give away. What's going to be your grabber? What's going to be your lead magnet? We call it.
Let's do this. I'm going to put you on the spot. Create a business right now for a preacher who's trying to take it to the next level. So what would his grab be?
Okay, well, I do this thing. So I have another business called Beginner Business School. And let me show you this. Okay, there it is right here. I created this thing called the Perfect Flower. It's based on this thing called Ikigai. So it's 4 questions you got to ask yourself. So and where they meet is your perfect flower. If you can see the flower, it's this little outline here. So it's, what are you good at? So we got to identify. Now, if it's going to be preaching itself, then that'll be one thing that we jot down. But there's going to be some other things that are related to oratoring, or what is the word? talking. You may have a gift for other things related to it, right? But what do you love? So it has to be what you're good at and what you love. Those are the internal things that are about you. But it can't just be that, because you have to understand the market. Those are one and the same. So what does the world need? And then that which can be paid for. So these outer layers, maybe I can zoom in. These outer layers, so these are the external, what the world needs, what can be paid for. Now, they create these little things. So what you're good at and what the world needs is your profession. What you're good at and what you can be paid for is your profession, rather, like an accountant or something. Sure. Good at numbers, somebody needs an accountant, they're going to pay for it. That's your profession. Your vocation is what you can be paid for and what the world needs, but it had nothing to do with what you love and what you're good at. So that's a vocation. That's somebody like, there's not too many people passionate about, I don't know, you just think of something, but it pays the bills. But it doesn't drive me. When I get off work, I go do the other stuff I really love. Right. So that's a vocation. Mission is what the world needs and what you love. So a lot of people have a mission, but it ain't what they're going to get paid for. But it's mission work. And there's going to be many people that are never going to be on the business side. They're going to do the mission, and they're needed as well. But oftentimes the mission people are coming to see the people with the money, because nothing moves without the money. And then that's what you love and that's what you're good at. That's the passion. So first you got to identify what's going to be the perfect thing that satisfies these 4 questions. So for me, I was good at the piano. Mm-hmm. I loved everything about the gospel, church, piano. So the love and the good matched. It was my passion as well. The world needed it. I mean, they were trying to get Beethoven lessons to play praise songs and worship music and shouting music. And it's a subculture in the big world that you just can't go to a conservatory or some fancy college. It just didn't work that way. And then I didn't know I could be paid for it, but I found out I could. And that was my 4. And that's my perfect flower, my ikigai, if you want to call it the original. So the preacher has to then say, okay, am I good at numbers as well? Like everybody in my family comes to see me for the budget, because they know when it comes to my hand, I'm a good steward. Yeah. Okay, so now you're trying to see that, okay, you love preaching in the gospel, but you're good at numbers as well. Okay, the world needs it. Now, is there a lot of churches and preachers that just don't know how to budget and they are bad with money? It just can't do it. Does the world need it? You have to ask yourself. And then will they pay to get some kind of structure? So you may start a business. And in fact, I have a buddy that did this. I don't know if it was for this. What is his site? Because I was Marketer of the Year in 2011. He was Marketer of the Year 2013. It was funny because 2 Christian businesses in this secular arena was Marketer of the Year 2 out of the 3 years. And his name, it'll come to me, Rocket, Preaching Rocket. Okay, y'all think I'll be making this up. This guy, 7 figures. He was Marketer of the Year after me. He sold it, so he's not the owner now, but he was the owner. The Rocket Company, resources and materials designed to help you grow your church. Now, this is their main website. But if I got into their business, I would bring you to a page, because I know about this company. Check them out though. Preaching Rocket. They have Giving Rocket. And they have Worship Rocket. The Rocket Company is their name. So that's a business right there. And I know that this was a 7-figure business before it was sold. Let me see. The Rocket Company. This is a way to see people. This is a secret way. You go site, and then put in the name. And this lets you see pages on their website. Because I'm trying to find you guys an example of, let me put opt-in email or something, because that totally changes it around. But anyway, if you ran into one of their ads, you would find one of those pages that are only asking you for your email. You'll see that they do it the same way. They have their main site, and then they have the site where they really do it. So this was a guy who was like me, good at marketing, but he had a passion for ministry. And he merged those 2 with a coaching program for churches on how to increase giving, preaching, volunteership, worship. So that you asked me to create something that's that's an example right there that we don't even have to make up, that I know for a fact is a successful data-driven company. But back to that preacher, if he likes numbers, I would create something. The name eludes me now, but I go to thesource.com and try to come up with something snappy, but it had to do with economics and preaching. It had to do with management of money and preaching. It'd be like the preacher's accountant or preachercpa.com, or, you got to give me an hour with it, but, something like that. And then I would just begin to take out my little, I don't know if you guys can see this, take out my little $100 microphone, and you got one too, and we'll just begin to, or maybe I'll outline it first, and I just want to give value. My first step is, what can I create that gives people a sense of, what I know, what I'm about, and let's give that out for free. Let's start a website. Let's go to Upwork.com maybe and get somebody who can put it up, and not put it up with some fancy thing I got to pay $1,000 for, because MVP, minimum viable process. We only want the bare minimum. And with one page, I can launch a business. And that page, all that's got to do is start getting me some email addresses. I don't need anything else right now. I don't even need an About Us page. Notice the page that I use. It may have has a simple section. This one's a little longer, to be honest. Just because it's on the business side and it's a little higher, it's a little longer, but one thing to do. It's no links. It's and then they get down to the bottom. It's the same button that leads to the same registration. It's just 3 of them because the page is 4 of them, but no other links, nothing like that. So I launch a business on a page like this. That's it. Just a page like this. Nothing else fancy, because I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna launch a 10-page website, and it has the odds of working of winning a jackpot or something. It just, the world, regular people tell you, oh, you have to launch your website. It's not really like that. You have to launch your lead capture page, your hook, the thing that's all you got to launch. And once you have you
can set, this was the most revolutionary thing for me. And again, I've been in ministry 20 plus years, but I'm just now becoming, although I've had businesses, I'm just now becoming intentional about kingdom businesses, if I can put it that way,
right,
and automation systems type thing.
Right.
One of the most revolutionary thing that I never even thought of is you can sell a product you haven't created yet.
Every product I've done has been that. Every product I've done.
You're selling a product you have not created yet.
You don't have to create it. In fact, I wouldn't create it, because you invested too much in something you don't know is going to work.
Do you all hear this? You create after you realize there's a market for it.
Absolutely. You shouldn't even do it the other way around. You shouldn't. Every course I created was registered for what's coming. So even the one I told you was $1,000, $2,000, and up to $5,000, it was not ready yet. They were registering to be in the first week, which was a week out. And then what happened was, if I didn't get any sales, or like if I was too hopeful, maybe I didn't project it right, no hard feelings. I didn't spend the next 6 months of my life making this course that nobody wanted. So I almost think it's not even a convenience. It's a must. It's never invest. That's why businesses fail, because they do all this work and they do all these pages. What I'm telling you is the business is launched on one page and it ain't even launched on the product. So you can almost throw some things out there, because the email will tell you if somebody's not giving you their email address, then they're not going to buy. Nobody in the world goes, I'm not giving them my email, but I will give them my credit card. It don't work that way. So if you can't even get the email in stage 1 without a product, you're not going to get the product. So I'm more realistic with how I teach people, because I've been through all that, and I've seen with my own family, my own pops, he's so entrepreneurial, but he doesn't want to do it my way. He wants to like hit it out the park. He's making a movie right now called Nightmare Harbor. And I love him. But I'm like, Pops, read these books and let's talk about it. Let's get it started like gradual. We ain't got to make Hollywood blockbusters out the gate, because I don't even know how to do that. I don't ever risk it like all like that, but I do it in a way that is more predictable, where you can mitigate your risk, right? So that talent, you got to get out there and take a risk. But it's not this all or nothing. Everybody has this Shark Tank kind of mentality, like go on Shark Tank and hopefully they like me or I'll have got nothing. No, you can start with one page, and if that page doesn't work, you can start with another page. And if that page don't work, you start with another page.
Let me ask you this in terms of leads. Is there a reason why you just want an email versus an email and an address versus an email and a phone number?
Yes. You want as much as you can get ultimately, but what happens is it's a indirect correlation. The more you ask, the more your conversion goes down.
Got it.
So asking for name and email, you're gonna get 20 to 40% of people land on your page will be willing to give you that. You start asking for address, like I don't know you like that, you know. So what you do there is to get really phone number comes before address. So this is what I do with phone number. I started what we call the Monday Music Minute. And I have an example of one on my phone. Every Monday they get a text message. This is perfect for ministry because you got so many one-line tweets and moments of inspiration and revelation that you can send out. And mine is, let me see, Monday Music Minute. It should be on Monday. Let me see, where are we at? What's today? Okay, so Monday Music Minute, where is it at? Oh, because we sent out a well, I have to search for that. I have so many text messages. Let me see, Monday. Oh, here it is. So I don't know if you can see that, but it's just tips that I send every week, every Monday.
Got it.
So what I would do then is I'd only go for the first name and email, because asking for too much up front. Sometimes actually it depends, because that example I just gave you was a webinar. Uh-oh, what just happened? Webinars, if you're doing a webinar, is you can get a phone number, because you always have to give a reason. It's called reason why marketing. So with a webinar, the reason why you need their phone number is very logical. My webinar platform can send you a reminder. We use webinarjam.com for webinars, or it'll send you a reminder. If you give me your phone number, you'll get a reminder for this. You don't want to miss it. Be there 7 p.m. or whatever the time. So now you got a name, email, and a phone number with a good reason. Address, now we're going a little far. Now an address, if you're giving away a book. So a lot of people run a free book funnel, and a free book funnel means I'll give you the book for free, but you got to pay for the shipping. So some people pay $7.99 for shipping, and they'll send the book. It's like a loss leader. Sometimes the book and the shipping can cover the book. You can say shipping and handling, and that can cover the printing of the book as well a lot of times. So that is a reason to get an email and an address. But that's really a buyer. Outside of that, people are not going to be as apt to give you full address for no reason. It's like, what are you sending? Are you sending me something? Right. You send me something. But name and phone, we start there. And phone, oh man, phone, 90% success rate versus email. Email has its issues in terms of people getting the email, because we got so many emails. So you want to be on their phone and their email box if you can. Gotcha. But yeah, that starts the relationship. And I'll leave you guys with this, because I'm at the end of my presentation, unless you have more questions. But 1,000 fans. I don't know if this website still exists. I think it was a book. It's a thing now. I don't know, but it was an author that came out. He ran a study or something, and he said all you need is 1,000 people in your corner to basically be like to live your own fruitful life. Meaning, my grandpa drove the street sweeper for 35 years, retired, and then he passed away 2013. The pastor that you spoke of. But it was always this, I'm so tired. That's why he was making me preach. And then eventually just gave it to me. He was so tired. It was like he had his vocation, but it wasn't what he loved. He did that just so that he could be okay to preach and to run the church. And it was just a labor of love. It just never turned like that. And so with 1,000 people, the internet wasn't even out for the mainstream back then. But if you have 1,000 people, so when I think about growing an email list, you think about growing that email list to get to the 1,000 fans, because once you have the 1,000 fans, I'm telling you, 1,000 people paying you even $10 a month can replaces most people. Just when you look at the the census data, 6 figures in America, that's not the average. It's far from the average. So to have 1,000 people paying you $10 a month replaces the income of, I want to say 80% of Americans, if not more. That's just 1,000 fans. Now, we started $37. So 1,000 people paying you $37, that's going to be $37,000. Now that's beyond a lot of people's comfort zone. A lot of people, that allows them to do some things like quit the street sweeping and study all day if they wanted to, like my grandpa, or, go work at the soup kitchen if you want to, or go preach for free if you want to. If you take an honorarium, you can give up that honorarium if you got the 1,000 fans. It's when I say freedom, it's not, your freedom may not be traveling the world like it was for me. Your freedom may be like just the freedom to take this engagement or that, or to just have that stress lifted off of you. I know what it feels like to give a speech in stress and a speech out of stretch, a sermon in stress and a sermon out of stress. Just to have that 1,000 fans online so that I remember we had a budget in our church because we had to pay the rent, and it was always, I just remember we only had a few members, but we had to make like $700 or something. I don't know if that was a week. I just remember I'm only 12. I'm in the financial committee and everything. And I'm like, that's so much stress with my grandpa. He's working for the city. And so it goes a long way. And what you're doing is admirable, because you're making a lot of people free. It's one thing to preach and make people spiritually free, but to have this physical stress still, a lot of us, that we serve so many people, but come home to the same bills that they have. Absolutely. So there's some real world economical things that have to change, and it has to change amongst spiritual folk just as well as it has to change amongst non-spiritual folks. So I feel like those talents have been given. There are some real world economic principles, and they don't seem to be biased, to be honest with you. It's the hard truth. The wicked tap into the same universal principles as the faithful. Mm-hmm. So more of us need to know about those principles so that we can use the money for good and to just lift up that. So when I say freedom, that's what I call freedom as well, especially for the context of this workshop.
Man, this has been incredible. We went way over.
Yeah, you told me 20 minutes. I knew I couldn't do that, man.
Well, listen, man, this has been absolutely incredible. I don't want the people that have been listening to listen, because so many times we've got self-doubt, we've got that skepticism that says, well, he's that one in a million. It doesn't have to be the same. This dude took a company. I watched him, a company in high school, and it's making millions. His other companies making multiple millions. I'm not going to ask you how much you've made in a year, but I know it's multiple millions of dollars. I'm an itinerant preacher, full-time ministry, making 7 figures. So you can, and if I can do that without being intentional, and you can only imagine what you can do with intentionality. But what I'm hearing is it takes systems. Yep. At some level, you got to be automated, and it's going to take a God factor as well. But I'm telling you, it can absolutely be done. Jermaine, you've been incredible, man.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm just honored to impart what I can to your audience, and I know some will hear the nuggets and some will run with them.
How can I want you to pray for them before we go off, but tell us how they can get in contact with you. How can they sign up for some of your stuff? Because we've gone almost 3 hours, and really you haven't even scratched the surface in terms of really all the information and impartation you offer and can give. So I know there's a lot of things they can connect with in order to get some more information and learn so many more things. So tell them how they can get in contact with you.
Absolutely. If you actually have a knack for music, come over to Hear and Play and get on the funnel there. I'd love for you to more so find me from an ad, because you can see where the real magic is. If you go to the regular Hear and Plays, it's not much going on there, but you can get some lessons over there, and that'll be great. But not a lot of traffic goes over there. So hearandplay.com, our YouTube channel over there. If you're into the business, I would probably say either beginnerbusinessschool.com. That's bare basic business, beginnerbusinessschool.com. And if anything I said has tickled you from the system side, or maybe you already have a starting point, maybe you were an MBA and turn that up to, do ministry or something, and you feel like, okay, I got the lingo down, I just need that extra layer, then automationclinic.com. So Beginner Business School, that's like my beginner. Automation Clinic, I would say that's intermediate, because then we're going to start talking lingo that you got to catch up a little bit. And then Hear and Play, that's that lifelong passion business that I don't think I'll ever really sell. It'll just be a part of my kid's life, maybe, whichever one's going to take it. And those are the three things that pretty much complete me.
Man, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. Pray for them. And I want you to pray that God will, as they implement the principles and techniques and tips that you've given them, that God will grant them a grace that would make them unbeatable, and that the same favor that's on your life and businesses be on there. So will you pray for them as we close?
Absolutely. Dear Lord, we praise you and thank you for who you are and just the ability to congregate together under the leadership of Bishop Spruill and all the people you've brought together for this time, this purpose. I know everybody who is here was meant to be here, has a fiery, burning passion inside of them that they want the world to hear, and that they also want to have a little bit of monetary value to make things a little easier, or to grow past their wildest dreams. And just like you gave the parable of the talents, you've given us varying talents. And I just pray today that we will harness our talents, we take inventory of our talents, and we begin to use our talents in unobvious ways, meeting the opportunities that exist for us today. Every major person, whether in the Bible or after, had the opportunities and had the environments of their day. And today we have a unique environment that is presented to us. And I pray that we meet that opportunity with knowledge, for we understand that we are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. I pray that we meet it with serious intent. And I pray that while we meet that with intent, that you give us a favor, that you give us a boldness, a courage that we've never seen before. When the doubts begin to come in, that you just give us a perseverance and a persistence that presses through that doubt, because on the other side of that doubt, right, is going to be transformation and change that we haven't seen before. Past that extra mile, there's not a lot of traffic. So just give us the strength, the courage to stay on the road past that mile, to invest in ourselves, to use our time wisely, to be good stewards, not just of money, but of time, resources, time being the biggest asset you've given us, and to just continue to do your work and to continue to inspire and to reach the world in ways that are immeasurable, and we be so careful to give your name all the praise and all the glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. We'll have to tag team again sometime soon, brother.
Well, I don't have the itinerary of you, so
we'll make it work, Doc. Thank you so much.